Hello, everybody in the internet verse. Frank Martin back here with another episode of Right Now, and my guest today is A.A. Warne, coming from the other side of the world.
Hello, thanks for having me.
So what time is it there?
9 o'clock in the morning. So
9 o'clock in the morning, and it is 7 at night here. So almost a 12-hour difference.
Yeah, nice.
The magic of the internet.
Yeah, I live in the future.
So I like to thank her for coming on, because I typically have other comic creators on here because I'm a lot more active in the comic creating community than I am the indie prose novel community. But we have a very special guest now that we do. So thank you for coming on, and we're going to chat all about what you have going on. So every time I do this, I have to figure out how to use StreamYard again, because it's just, I don't know why.
Oh yeah, I had to figure out how to get in because I'm not a Google person. It's like, oh, you can go to Google. Yeah, it's always a learning curve.
So this is your website. Tell us all about yourself, what you like to write, what you put out, what you plan, and if you want me to navigate around the site, just let me know.
Yes, that's my list of books. So I'm A.A. Warne, Amanda Warne, and I write speculative fiction. So I'm primarily heavy in fantasy, but I will dip into romance, not so much horror, but I've been pulling a lot of horror elements lately, especially When Sleeping Giants Wake. And I just follow whatever character takes me into whatever world. I try not to create one story. So if you go from one story to another, they're completely different. Hence why I am a speculative fiction writer. So heavy worlds, unique characters, loads of emotions, and interesting story arcs. That's
very cool. I have that problem too when I put out a lot of stuff. I have, like, I call it writer ADD brain, because I'm just bouncing around. I never stick in one world with one characters.
Yeah, and it's fun. Like, so Heavy Dirty Soul is literary fantasy, and it follows, witches, and every chapter she dies and reincarnates to the next life. But because it's literary fantasy, we're getting totally different characters, totally different countries, worlds, languages. It's really in depth. Whereas Pandora Unleashed, that's a retelling of Pandora's Box, but not a retelling. It's like a reimagined version.
I love those stories where you take something familiar and you just do it completely differently.
Yeah. And the reviews on that one is like hit and miss, because everyone's like, I want it exactly like the story was. I'm like, you're not going to get that from me. I will take something and I will run with it. Yeah.
So here's a difficult question for any author. Which one is your favorite?
I have a love-hate relationship with Heavy Dirty Soul. I love it, and I hate it, and I love it, and I hate it, and I don't know what that's about. So I'm going to put that out there. Concealed Power is no longer available. We are rewriting that. We're a co-author team with Michelle Crow. Fantasy Christmas.
I do see the book one on there, though.
It is it's a trilogy. Mm-hmm. The first book, we were pretty debut authors. We were still learning to write. We were still navigating each other's abilities, but also learning our own abilities as well. So I've grown heaps since we've written that. And we reread it and we thought, you know what? We can do 1,000 times better. So we pulled it. We're in the work. The Reluctant Wizard, that's the old cover. It's got a new cover at the moment. So I'm republishing that one. That's probably my favorite. It's 115,000 words children book that follows this kid, Eli, who cannot figure out whether he should be a wizard or a warlock, and they're both at war with one another.
The whole good and evil story.
Yeah, and there was no way I could go to a trade publisher and say, hey, please publish this. It was so epic. They were like, can you get it under 60,000 words? I'm like, that's half the story. And my editor was like, you have to self-publish it. This is not something someone's going to pick up. It's so epic. And then all the children who have read it, because I've done a lot of school tours with this one, they've all turned around and said to me, Amanda, it needs to be longer. I need a more big story. I was like, oh, that is a intense process of trying to get it out there without the restraints of what is expected.
That's the tough part of being not just a writer, but any sort of creative, is that a lot of people that have the power to put things out are expecting a specific thing. And that's not how creativity really works. When you're creating for yourself, it could be anything. You don't put limitations on yourself. But they say it needs to fit into this nice little box. And you're like, that's not what we do. And like, I can do something that fits into that nice little box, but that's not how genres grow. That's not how stories change. People need to challenge and do things differently. So
that's right. And
frustration. That's what it's about.
That's right. And when I was writing Heavy Dirty Soul, when I came up with this idea, and my children were at me like, we want to read your writing. And I'm like, there's no way you're reading this book. Like, this is intense. So they wanted the life, the experience of the fantasy, the adult fantasy book, the intensity of the world, the unique characters going through growth. But I didn't want to give them an adult's book to read. So that's where The Reluctant Wizard came from. It is thick like an adult's book. It has all of the world building techniques and the intensity of the world, but through a child's eyes. And it's written for children, so the language isn't convoluted, it's not full on, it's very accessible, but they're still dealing with real world problems like war and famine and the intensity of war, but through a magical lens. It's accessible to children.
Kids are smart. As long as you put things in digestible terms for them, they can comprehend very complex themes and plots and characters. So it's you don't really got to dumb things down for them.
Never. And they understand that things happen in the world and there are consequences. So famine was a consequence of the war. And his mother is one of those magic beings who create food for the community, but she's grieving and she can't access that magic. So it adds to more famine. And he's just like, yeah, I've got this. I'm going to step up. I'm going to then make my choice to become a wizard or a warlock. But, you're choosing one side of the war. There's consequences to your actions. Mm-hmm. And, all the kids who have read it, they just like, more, bigger. It needs to be bigger. Like, so I think I might have created some really intense fantasy hooked readers for the future.
Well, speaking of fantasy, I want to get going and start what we're here for, which is right now. For if you've never seen the show, if you don't know what it's about, Amanda and I are going to write a story together. I'm going to start with a sentence. She's going to come in after me and write the next sentence. And then I will go, she'll go until we have something resembling some sort of a story. And the trick is, though, every episode has a different theme. This theme is going to be forest. Got me in the mood with all your fantasy talk. So every sentence has to have some sort of foresty element to it.
Okie dokie. This sounds good.
My last episode was underwater. And I was thinking, like, there's so much underwater. How much stuff can be in a forest? And I'm like, I don't really care. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Because you call it forest and I call it the bush. So
that's right. Do they have forests in Australia?
Yeah. We have forests. We have quite a lot. They usually burn.
That's very true. They're usually on fire. Yeah. I feel that way about California. It feels like I just see this repeating story that California is on fire. And I'm like,
Yeah.
did they put out the last one, or it keeps going?
It keeps going, yeah. Yeah, that's a summer theme for us. Every summer we're preparing for bushfires, cleaning out your gutters and
But a lot of fires they set on purpose. Oh yeah, beautiful forest in Australia.
yeah.
What am I talking about?
Oh, we have some epic ones. We lived through the one just at the end of 2019, 2020 was huge. And I was a delivery driver back then. So I was driving into it and this plummet of smoke going up. And I'm looking at the map saying, that's still, hundreds of miles away, but it felt like it was right here. It's just, I've never felt fear. I'm like, why am I driving towards this thing?
Let's try not to light our forest on fire here.
Yeah,
so,
no fires.
I want to get, with all the fantasy you've been talking about, I want to dive into that. So I'm going to say the elf knew he'd screwed up when the twig snapped under his foot. So the forest element here would be twig, right? We got twigs in forest. Right. I don't overthink it. Just anything that's you find in a forest, and we can't use the same thing twice.
Ooh, okay.
All right. So who is this elf? Why is he in the forest? Why did he screw up? We don't know. We got to figure it out.
All right. So new line.
We keep it like paragraphs. So you could start the next right after it, and then when we get to a new idea, we'll make a new paragraph.
The elf knew he screwed up when the twig snapped under his foot. Now I'm gonna not overthink it.
Don't overthink it.
My brain goes into overdrive.
Don't overthink it. Well, you got to think about the basic things of story. Like, is he alone? Does he have a name? Is he with someone? Is he looking for something? Like, what's his purpose in the forest? Like, all the basics. And just go with the first one that comes off your head. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad.
Oh, I like how you like the first one that gets like trampled by the 6 others that just ran over it. So I was like, what was my first thought? Here. Twisted and turned. Quickly.
I'm going to bring this back up. I love you. Like, I need a forest element. Let me go for the easiest possible forest element I could think of.
I claim it first.
No, I screwed up. He twisted and turned, quickly hiding behind the tree. All right. He must be hiding around here somewhere, growled the orc while chewing on some bark. Tree bark, right? The orcs chew on it.
Oh, you're gonna hate me now.
It's fine. Fine. I prefer to be in a rageful mood when I write. Oh, perfect. The sap dripped from his pointed teeth. See, that's a great line because it doesn't move the story forward anywhere, but it adds some nice detail that gives us.
I did it twice. That's why I'm like, oh, I gotta like expand and move. Give it a twist.
He must be hiding around here somewhere, growled the orc while chewing on some bark. The sap dripped from his pointed teeth. So is this our orc talking to himself, or is he talking to somebody?
Oh, maybe he's being hunted by 2.
Realizing death was closer than he... I'm going to write realizing death was closer than he realized. Realizing death was closer than he wanted. The elf held his breath. As he watched the... Okay, we're going to get a little logistics here. 2 orcs.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm gonna cheat thanks to you. Watch as he watched the 2 orcs move through the brush. The bush.
The bush. Yeah. Your bush is different to my bush.
Definitely. We don't have bush here in the States. We have one bush. It's not the bush, it's a bush.
Yeah. You guys walk through the forest, we walk through the bush.
Yeah.
Realizing death was closer than he wanted. Who wants death to be close? The elf held his breath as he watched the 2 orcs move through the bush.
I guess they're after him. We don't know why yet. We're getting some context.
Uh-huh.
To the bigger orc. Now you got to get some sort of forest element in there.
Brushing off the
mosquitoes.
Ooh, how to spell mosquitoes? Here comes the
spell check. OES. Now you got it. It's perfect.
Dyslexia cured. Seriously, how did I spell that in one go? Here's. Oh, what would the vest be made out of? Like the
chainmail, like mithril. You could. I like mithril is as a word because they always have that in Final Fantasy.
What's mithril? Explain that.
Is that a real thing? Let me see. Mithril? So in the video game Final Fantasy, they always have like various elements, like an iron sword or a steel sword. They have mithril.
I'm not seeing what you're saying.
Well, mithril is actually from. I didn't know this. It's from Lord of the Rings. But they have in Final Fantasy too.
Final Fantasy. I have memories of the early 2000s of Final Fantasy. Oh, mithril. Oh.
Yeah. Brushing off the mosquitoes from his mithril vest.
I knew I spelled that wrong.
Is this coin even worth it? Doesn't matter because the chief wants it back, said the smaller orc.
Okay, so you got big orc, small orc.
Yeah, that's how we designate them. Doesn't matter because the chief wants it back, said this reply. Change said because you used said. Replied the smaller orc as he chopped down the. I did. I'm gonna put bush again. As he chopped down the.
Fern?
Yeah, chopped down the fern in his way. There we go.
He ripped the roots right out. I'm starting off with my forest.
Yeah, that's good. Now you're free. Now you can.
It's such an orc. All right, so he ripped the roots right out. Doesn't matter because the chief wants him out. But if I get my hands on that little weasel first. I like a threat. If I get my hands on it, I'm good at threats. My children can tell you that. But if anyone hears me and they go, oh, and then my children don't worry, she's all bark, no bite.
I know, that's a tough one.
I underline my threats every time. I'm like, oh, but I write them in my diary and then use them as character. I'm going to get my hands on a little weasel first.
What is he going to do? Rip out his guts.
Yeah.
What if I
we'll pay for a body? The chief won't even see him.
But if I get my hands on a little weasel first.
The chief won't even get him. No, he wants the coin. He wants the coin. Oh, the chief will have to pay for the body? Ooh.
How about the chief will have to wipe his blood off the coin?
Oh, have to wipe the blood off his coin. Ooh. Intense.
Blood off his coin. Hearing the orcs talk about his blood sent the elf into a panic. I do this. I don't know why. Does anybody else do this? They just talk out loud as they're typing. I mean, it works.
Oh, definitely the dialogue. Yeah.
It works. I mean, during the show because I'm like saying it out loud to an audience. But I'll do this when I'm by myself too. I'm just in a room by myself talking as typing.
Oh, 100%. When I'm doing dialogue, I have to speak it out loud so I can hear it right in my ear, because then I can articulate it on the page. At the moment, I'm helping an author write Australian. So I'm going to have to really lean into that Australian accent to make sure it's on the page right.
That's my one writing weakness. I cannot do like dialects.
Right.
Or accents.
Yeah.
I like everybody. Yeah. I mean, I can make voices sound unique, but giving them that slang, the little... Yeah. It always comes off cheesy.
Yeah, because we speak a different English here, and it's very different to the English, and then different to the American English. And so every time they like, hey, I've got this Australian character, I'm like, there's no Australian about it. So it's nice being asked to say, hey, can you help me? And I'm like, 100%, I am on board.
So hearing the orcs talk about his blood sent the elf into a panic, causing him to scramble up the tree by the branches. We always already use tree, but branches is my forest element. So I'm trying to I'm trying to inject a little more action into the story.
Right. So
I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I guess they would have to hear him, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And I was like, how smart are they?
How smart are they? I don't know. It's up to you to figure it out.
I do like a smart orc, like in Bright.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You don't want to go those cliches. It's such cliche that orcs are dumb, right?
Right. But at the same time, they're an orc, and they're
but they're orcs, and orcs are dumb.
Yeah, how much canon do we have to consider here?
Bright was an interesting movie. I haven't watched that in forever since it came out.
They canceled number 2. They paid $1 million for the script in the first movie, right? Who pays $1 million for a script and then they canceled number 2?
I wish somebody would pay me $1 million for a script.
Why would you cancel that? But I could rant on that. That's my source topic. But hearing them talking about causing him to scramble the tree, but branches. I feel like the branches actually need to like sway. They sway back and forth as he clung tightly to the what is the trunk. See, I'm still sipping my coffee. I'm still trying to get through it. My morning coffee. I didn't want to say the branches, and then the branches, they sway back and forth.
The trunk works.
Tightly to the trunk.
They, as in the trees? Yeah,
the branches.
Oh, the branches.
Because I didn't want to say the branches and then the branches.
The branches again. Okay. Tree by the branches.
Yeah, I thought they could have a little bit more movement before they hear him, because we tap into more of this panic here. What does he do when he's up the tree?
All right, they sway back and forth as he clung tightly to the trunk. What does he do? Let's go.
Does he find something? Does he see something?
I got something. For a moment, the elf thought he would be safe as the orcs began to pass under him.
Ooh.
But the swaying branches, no, but a large pine cone, detached from the swaying branch and dropped directly on the larger orc's head. Pine cone's 2 words? Yeah. So pine cone is my forest element.
Right. Okie dokie.
Now they got no choice. now they have to acknowledge him.
Falling into the drama. Okay. Yeah, it's hard to add this thing. See my face? It's like head overdrive.
I mean, now would be a good time for some dialogue if you want to throw some in there.
Sinking his foot.
That's a good forest element into the soil.
Yeah, the soil. I was gonna say the dirt. Creating. I feel like that's a both.
All right, it's my turn.
Yeah.
Now, York spun around, sinking his foot into the soil. Now, I know what I want to do. I want to talk about the other orc. So, what grumbled the smaller orc while picking a cricket off a nearby tree for a quick snack.
I kind of feel like he does like this snotty, runs his hand under his nose to clear the snot. He's like real manly. All right, I think this sentence has to go up one because we stayed in the large orc.
Sure.
What was that?
So I basically threw it back into the large orcs.
Yeah. Snapping his neck back, he looked up.
See, I knew what I was going to do if you gave me the opportunity to do that, but I'm not going to do it now. I'm going to save it for another one.
Glaring at the treetops. I feel like he sees like the fingers.
So I'm gonna edit you. Can I change something?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna change treetops to forest canopy, and that will be your forest element.
Ooh, okay. Glaring at the forest element. Can I stop it there, or should I add?
Snapping his head back, he looked up, glaring at the forest canopy. I mean, you could say that he saw the elf. Whatever you want. Can you?
Yeah, so it just seems that. No.
You could end it there. I guess so. You could end it there.
Hold on. Does that tree have fingertips? So. All right, there you go. So I feel like, when you got the tree trunk and you're kind of like holding on for dear life.
Yeah, he sees the finger.
I see the fingertips. Oh, I threw you a curveball.
Yeah, so you're going to like this one.
Okay.
After wiping the viscosity,
Mucus?
from his nose. That's what you said before, right? Is viscosity a word? Viscosity? Viscosy's. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it. You know what? This is my show. This is my show. I make the rules. Viscosity can be a word.
We're creating new language.
After wiping the viscosity mucus from his nose, the smaller orc. No, it was the larger orc.
Yeah.
Wiping the viscosity mucus from his nose, the larger orc snapped it at the peculiar fingers on the tree. I'm trying to think. When you have leaves like on the ground, are they called something else?
Yeah, leaf canopy, leaf litter. We call that leaf litter.
The large orc snapped it at the peculiar fingers on the tree. And after wiping the viscous mucus from his nose, the larger orc snapped it at the peculiar fingers on the tree, grossing out the elf and causing him to fall down into the litter of leaves between his pursuers.
Ooh.
Oh, now you're forced to confront.
Alrighty.
Making things tricky for you.
Okay. He rolled in the leaves. He rolled in the leaves. He rolled leaves. But the bigger orc placed a firm foot right in the middle of his back. Boom.
We need a forest element there.
He rolled in the leaves.
We have the leaves already. You need something new.
No, I'm going to do a new one. He rolled in the...
I think you do just brush.
The brush? Okay.
I think brush is like... I think it would work. Brush, definition. No, I don't want a paintbrush.
Yeah, so do you have another term other than leaf litter?
A bed of leaves. And I think if it was here and I saw them walking down the street, I would call them like a pile of yeah, just say bed of leaves. Rolled in the thicket. What's a thicket? That seems like a foresty word, right? A dense group of bushes or trees.
You would walk through that.
You would walk through that. You want to roll it. He rolled in the thick bed of leaves. That's fine. Trying to move, but the bigger orc placed a firm foot right in the middle of his back.
Pressing him down.
We finally got him, shouted the smaller orc as a terrified squirrel scampered out of the leaf bed. All right.
Okay.
They want that coin, so they got to question them.
Yeah, that's right.
You got to keep the cannon going.
Please, the elf. Oh God, squeals. The E-A-L squeal. Yeah, E-A-L. It redone it.
Please, the elf.
Oh, hold on. I had to comma because I hadn't got my forest idea. This was all your idea. He screamed and the birds took off. Birds took off.
I'm gonna edit this. I'm gonna put that in the beginning. Please, the elf squealed as the birds above took off.
Yeah. Because it's harsh getting that, like, a forest idea into every line.
Yeah. If it was easy, then everybody would do it, right? Please, the elf squeals, the birds above took off. This was all your idea.
Yeah, put it back on them.
All right.
So this is where you could go down the smart section or the dumb section.
You could. I'm thinking about forest elements first. The two orcs, confused. The two orcs glanced at each other through the thin veil of fog that wafted through the forest. So fog would be my forest element there.
Do we look like idiots to you? The bigger
orc.
I looked at that. I was like, that didn't seem right.
You would look like idiots to you.
Dirt. Say that again.
No, I'm just thinking of what you can use as your forest element.
Yeah, because I was thinking more like his feet, like he's squashing his foot down.
I mean, you used soil before, so you can use dirt again, which is an easy one.
Yeah, foot. So I feel like
So wait, is he? He still has his foot on his back?
Yeah, I guess so.
So you could say the bigger orc. Do we look like idiots to you? The bigger orc asked as he pushed the elf further into the dirt.
Oh, yeah. The bigger orc asked as he pushed the elf further into the dirt. Yeah, because I used soil earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, this is taking a twisty turn.
All right. I don't think so, but he might. The elf quipped while pointing to a curious fox in front of him. So my idea of, I'm going to explain. My thought process of doing that is it's a distraction for the elf to kind of get away.
Yeah, good one. All righty. I'm going to go with this. So they were chasing him. They got to take him back to the chief.
Are you thinking? You're thinking too far ahead.
I'm thinking back.
Are you thinking back?
Yeah, so they're going to take him back to the chief because that's what we said, right?
No, they said we're going to take him back to the chief.
Yeah, the chief wants.
So is this coin even worth it? So they're after him for the coin. Doesn't matter because the chief wants it back, meaning the coin, implying that the elf stole the coin from the chief.
Oh, here I am thinking the chief wanted the elf back.
No, the chief wants it back, the coin.
Back. Coin, okay. See?
So that's why, but if I get my hands on that little weasel first, the chief will have to wipe the blood off his coin.
See how my mind went down a different avenue?
It's okay.
So
it doesn't matter. The story still works.
It just I don't think so. He might. The elf quipped while pointing to the curious right of him. Ooh.
I mean, if I am setting this up as the elf wanting a distraction to get away, this would be his opportunity to get away.
Right. So without having to use the fox.
Well, the fox. I thought the fox would just be a distraction. Like they'll look at the fox, and so they're not paying attention to what he's doing.
Right. I might overthink
What it was so.
My head is going like, how do you push the fox without repeating the fox? Because we don't want to repeat the element.
You don't need to push the fox. The fox is just a distraction so that the elf can do something else, like throw an acorn at their heads. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good one.
We've used pine cone. We haven't used acorn.
Oh, the acorns are the small ones, aren't they? The pine cones are the big ones.
Yeah. And that gave me an idea for another forest element that I'm gonna use afterwards.
Yeah, because we don't have acorns here. Why do I feel like? We've already had twigs, haven't we?
Twigs was the very first one I used.
Yeah. So so we're not going to use dirt. We're not going to use soil. We can't use leaf litter. What if he grabs a handful of? Can I use acorns, or are you going to use it?
I was going to use pine needles.
Okay, so I'll use it. Acorns. The elf grabs a handful of acorns. Throwing them up at the larger orc's face, causing him to stumble back. There you go.
Elf. All right.
So the foot is now off the elf.
The elf grabbed a handful of acorns, throwing them up the larger orc's face, causing him to stumble back. Now, whoops, not starting there. Now with his partner distracted. No, that doesn't work. Now with the other orc distracted. Now with the other orc distracted, the elf saw an opening to grab a particularly sharp pine needle and jab it into the smaller orc's eye. Oh, gruesome.
Ooh, now we're going into my territory.
So now he has an opening to run away. Or does he fight or flight? What's he going to do?
Oh, no, we're going to stay with this gruesome.
I'm going to keep it going.
Jab into the smaller orc. Clutched at his eye, screaming, stumbling backwards, falling into a. Did we use fern? I
had fern, yeah. You gave me fern, so.
Flower bed. What? Yeah. So we've got fern.
You know, you could use bush. We did bush in the general sense of the forest, but we didn't do bush as in like a single bush.
Literally bush. Just want to add some extra.
Clutched his eye, screaming, stumbling backwards, falling into a prickly bush. All right. Let me see here. I don't think so, but he might. The elf The elf grabbed a handful, throwing them at the larger, just causing him to stumble back. So the other, after regaining his footing, the larger orc brandished an axe and snarled, "Give me the coin, or I'll
take your head."
Drag you from this forest with I'm trying to think now. I want to get my forest element in. With
Ooh.
drag you from this forest
Ugh.
choking on, I don't know, seeds, right? I guess that works. Give me the coin, I'll drag you from this forest choking on seeds. I'm not sure I really like that. Drag you from this forest with I need like something gruesome.
Well,
like
I mean,
threatening
you can turn
gruesome.
it into forest food for the animals.
Okay, that's a good one. Give me the coin, or I'll. Here, how about this? Give me your coin, or I'll leave your rotting corpse here for the ants to feast on.
Ooh. Oh. Okay. So I feel like we could like hook back what we earlier said, where he was saying, "This is your idea."
Well, that you can come back to that, or that might have just been the elf like talking shit. Just
Yeah.
you don't have to. It could have just been him just rambling to try to save himself, or there could be some more there. It's up to you.
Yeah.
If you want to bring it in, bring it in.
He's putting larger. He wrapped in. Oh, okay. So he's got the footing, but where is the elf standing right now? I feel like
well, he had the orc on his back, right?
Yeah.
And then I guess when he grabbed the needles, he had to have gotten up to stab the guy in the eye.
Yeah.
So he's probably standing at this point.
Yeah. I feel like we could actually stay with him. I'm gonna move this. The larger orc. I feel like he could like have his hands wrapped around his neck, like while he's got the axe ready to go. Like, give me the coin. Like, real threatening. The larger orc wrapped his. Also, how do I get squeezed?
I would have him like lunge forward because there's a little. Remember, he backed up, so there's a little distance between them.
Yeah. Okay.
So the large orc lunge forward,
wrapping his tight fist around the elf's neck, pushing him into the so on a trunk. So we've already done bark, and then what else?
This is what you do. Parts of the tree.
Moss.
How did people write before Google?
I think by hand. I still write by hand.
Well, if you needed information, you're like, what are parts of the tree? Let me go to my Encyclopedia Britannica.
I know. I remember back in my teenage years.
Foliage. We haven't used that.
I was gonna go the lacing.
What is this? Trunk, roots. Stump, like a tree stump. We haven't used that yet.
Yeah, we'll save those two. The larger orc. Why did I say arc? The larger orc lunged forward, wrapping his tight fist around the elf's neck, pushing him into the lacing moss across the bark. No, pushing him against the wet moss. Because if we've got fog, we want to make it a bit more dense. More of a wet forest.
All right. The larger orc lunged forward, wrapping his tight fist around the elf's neck, pushing him against the wet moss. I'm going to make this its own paragraph. All right, we're going to do 3 for 3 here, which is basically our way of winding the story down.
Okay.
So we're going to do the same thing, except we have 3 sentences each for a total of 6.
Okay.
So we're going to try to put some sort of bow on this.
Finish it up.
Yeah, trying to bring it to some sort of conclusion.
Good.
So so I have an idea, but I'm not going to tell you what it is, and I don't know if you'll go along with it. So we'll see. If you want it so bad, then go get it. The elf I think I whispered in a raspy voice. Yeah, because he's choking him. The elf whispered in a raspy voice as he threw a shiny, round object into the foliage behind the smaller orc, who was still stuck in the bush. So that's my first sentence. I have 2 more.
Okay. So if you want to so bad, then go get it. Oh,
did you get my hint?
Yeah.
I made it pretty obvious.
The larger orc. Wait, so you want him to release, or because I'm like, hold on.
You can do whatever you want. But the idea was he threw it to kind of like force the orc to go get it. You know what I mean?
The larger orc screamed this one. Get off your ass. Oh, I put a full stop. I feel like butts. I'm gonna put butts.
I could get a forest element for you. You want it?
Yeah. The
larger orc screamed at the smaller one. Stop eating berries in that bush. And there you go. So if you wanted to end it there, you can.
Oh, yeah, hold on. But the
It was just easing up the burden of your forest element.
Thank you. There you go.
Where it went.
Yeah, where it went. Yeah, so because he's like a hand over his eye, being stabbed. He's like, there's so much leaf litter. Where did it go? Larger.
After hearing his partner I didn't want to do the actual dialogue. So after hearing his partner complain that it was hard to look with just one eye, the larger orc scoffed and released the elf to help find what he believed to be the coin. I do not have a forest element, so I got to figure out a way to get one in. After hearing his partner complain that it was hard to look.
Well, I mean, he's trying to search in the forest, isn't he?
Yeah. So I'm gonna try to slip it in here. After hearing his partner complain that it was hard to look in.
It's buried.
Buried.
Like he's searching for like it's like the forest had swallowed up.
Yeah, but that's not a forest element.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna do parts of the forest. Why not? When
running out of elements.
Yeah, we're almost done. You know, I don't know why we didn't do this one. The larger orc was hard to look in the grass. Why haven't we done grass?
Oh.
We're to complain that it was hard to look in the grass, but just when this entire time we forgot that forests have grass.
Okay.
So I have one sentence left.
Oh, so you're gonna leave me with the last sentence? No.
Yeah. I mean, if you want, I could do one more to try to wrap it up. I would just have a volcano erupt. They all get swallowed by lava. Story over. No.
The aliens invaded.
Yeah, the aliens invaded. The apocalypse is always a good way to end a story.
Gasping.
The elf dropped to the ground.
Whatever, like the fog is still rolling in, isn't it? Gasping the thickening forest air.
Yeah, sure. We're with Slim Pickens now with the forest elements, the forest air award.
Well, I mean, it's fragrance by pine cones.
Yeah. Then there you go. Grasping the, don't do thickened forest air, the fragrant forest.
Fragrance.
The fragrant forest air.
Forest air. The elf dropped to the ground, gasping for. So, what do we have him run off?
Yeah, he needs to run off.
Yeah. Elf dropped to the ground.
Before, and then you could write before scampering through the, what would they call it? I'm looking at diagrams of forests here. The forest understory.
The forest understory?
I mean, based on this picture, it looks like the understory is like the first level above the floor.
Understory. That's a new term for me.
Maybe I'm using it completely wrong. Here, look. So we'll do this. Share this tab instead. So you see my picture?
Oh, yeah. Wait, you've got cheat sheets. Why didn't I think of that?
I just told you. What did people do before Google?
Oh, I was literally going, yeah, I write by hand.
No, I've been Googling forest terms this entire time.
You think I'm like coming up with all these elements? I'm like, oh.
You think I'm an ecologist or something? I just pull them off the top of my head. So,
write what you know. Write what you know.
I knew canopy. I knew that one. But yeah so forest floor. You could write before swinging through the forest understory.
Oh, he's gonna swing?
Maybe. I mean, it's a little higher than the ground.
Before scampering through the forest understory.
Before swinging, before swinging.
Yeah. Swinging?
Yeah. So I have one more sentence.
Okay.
The elf dropped to the ground, grasping the fragrant forest air before swinging through the forest understory. I need to wrap this up in some sort of context. So.
I think I got my last line.
After traveling the rest of the day, the elf finally arrived home where his what's a pleasant word for a witch? Like a sage. When you think of a sage, though, you think of a male. But what's the female equivalent of a sage?
How many witches have I written?
This is your area of expertise.
I'm sorry, but I sorceress? Enchantress?
No. Enchantress is a good one.
Yeah.
After traveling the rest of the day, the finally arrived home where his enchantress wife
first thought was witch, and I was like, that's not nice.
Waiting for the magical relic.
Okay.
Right. Wait, hold on. No. They'll finally arrived at their log cabin home. So log cabin is the forest element. Where his enchantress wife had been waiting for the magical relic, which I'm just gonna tell you, I'm referring to the coin.
I'm trying to understand the pun.
So the purpose. I'm giving like purpose to why he took the coin.
Oh, okay. I
So
bet he's arriving without it. So
no, he's right. He's arriving. I'm gonna spoiler. He's arriving with it.
Oh.
I was trying to drop hints. If you didn't notice,
No, I didn't notice.
He didn't. I said, where is it?
It was
the elf. So the elf whispered in a raspy voice as he threw a shiny round object into the foliage. So I didn't say he threw a coin.
Fine to believe to be the coin. Yeah.
Yeah. So he believed it to be the coin. So I was trying to like set it up that he tricked the orcs by throwing. Yeah, the orcs are dumb. Remember?
Yeah. So am I, clearly, because I didn't pick up any hints twice.
I thought that I did plan ahead. I told you not to plan ahead, but I did. I was planning and
totally planned ahead.
I wanted to wrap it up on a happy note in that the elf got away with the fruits of his labor, you know?
So what is the shiny thing?
I mean, you could get rid of the orcs entirely. I would focus on the elf.
Oh, really?
Because he's the protagonist, right?
Yeah. I kind of felt like the last one was like
you don't want to leave the orcs just looking for this.
Oh no, I kind of had this image in my mind where he's got his eye and it's bleeding. It's got these things, and then like they promised like blood and to take back. So he finds this item. It's like just lean on, like drip more blood onto it. Like
I love how I'm thinking. I want to give this elf a nice happy ending, and you're like, but the orcs, they're bleeding and there's blood and there's.
I told you I'd go dark. Yeah, but like if you drip more blood onto what the item they found, they can take back to the chief and said, "See, we got him. We got our happy ending too."
Go figure it out. Make it happen.
I told you I'd go dark.
If we get enough blood on this piece of metal junk, maybe they'll think it's the coin.
That's right.
They'll never know.
Held the shiny object beneath. What is it, Chief? Chief.
I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna change object to shiny piece of worthless metal. How about that? Because he kind of.
Did I spell Chief right? Chief? No, they did not.
Where his enchantress wife had been waiting for. I'm gonna change this too to give. I'm gonna like. If people didn't pick up on the hint, I'm gonna drop it here. So I'm gonna change magical relic to have been waiting for the coin. He happily delivered from his satchel.
So I haven't gotten a forest element. Meanwhile, the larger orc
held the shiny brushed off. Okay. How about this? We use dirt. We use soil. What's another word for that?
Mud. Could do mud.
I haven't changed the tab back. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Mud. So you could put, meanwhile, the larger orc, you could have him brush off mud off of the piece.
The larger orc brush mud.
The larger orc brushed mud
from the
shiny piece of worth metal
then held it beneath a smaller. There you go.
Yeah. All right. So hold still. We need more blood to convince the chief. To convince the chief. There you go. Perfect. Now, my favorite part of every story.
They're concluded.
The end. Yeah. If you write convince, it insinuates that it's not the point.
It's a good word. Convinced.
Convinced. Yeah. Just like viscosy.
Yeah, viscosy.
This was fun.
Yeah,
This was different. We had a nice little fantasy tale.
Yeah.
All right. So what I'd like to do at the end of every episode, I like to play a little guessing game to see how many words we got down.
Ooh, okay.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, we're single paced. I think we are on about 620.
I'm going to go 700. Okay. It's usually around 600, 650, but
yeah.
So I'm going to, yeah, let's go. Let's see. Tools, word count. 700, 701.
Oh, what? How close were you?
You know what it was? It was the end. If I didn't put the end, it would be 699. But since I wrote the end, it's 701.
Yeah. And see, I normally write double spaced, so that's why I was like, "Oh, single spaced today." I like that.
All right, that was a lot of fun, Amanda. Thank you for coming on and writing with me. Great. What did you think? It was easier than you thought, harder than you thought?
Yeah, it's definitely like when I'm jumping into your idea at the beginning, I was like, what have I got myself into? But then when we got some momentum, I was like, okay, I've got this. But it's
always easy when you have momentum. Once you have context, it's easier to go. Hard with that blank page. You're like, where do I start?
Yeah.
So tell people really quick where they can find you because my wife wants her computer back.
Oh. So I'm AA Warne everywhere. So that's me that way down there. aawarne.com is my website, but on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok's a bit low, but I'm changing that. So yeah, AA Warne. Look for me everywhere.
Thank you for coming on. Thanks for writing with me. I'll share this on Facebook, probably Thursday. But anyway, enjoy your day because I guess mine's over. It's 8 o'clock.
Enjoy your night.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.